Welcome back to the Best Self Diary, where I once a week sit down and go over some of the most impactful and insightful principles and ideas that has occupied my mind the recent week. And hopefully by sharing them, they will also have a benefit for you and impact on helping you get closer to the best version of yourself and making your dreams a reality. And for this week, it has been amazing getting back to a structured routine again and finally feeling like my best self again, being optimal in my energy and being optimal in my routines and structure and doing the hard work that's fulfilling and that I love and that really makes it all worth it and is my reason behind why I'm doing it. So, this week has been filled with a lot of thoughts regarding getting back to the routine and the hard work and the sacrifices that it takes to follow your ambition and follow your dreams. And therefore, in this episode, I think we're going to cover a lot of topics that will definitely impact your thoughts and perspective on what it means to put in hard work consistently and sacrificing along the way, but most importantly, finding lasting happiness and finding fulfillment in the journey rather than only pursuing goals for the rest of our lives. So, we'll definitely get into making hard decisions and knowing when and what also to sacrifice. We're going to cover why achieving goals and striving for success will never equal happiness. And also, we're going to cover how to find lasting happiness and actually enjoy the process because happiness is found in the pursuit, and that is what we'll get into in today's episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first idea that I really want to touch upon is something that I briefly spoke on a recent episode, and this is the idea of sacrificing and what gives something value. Because it is difficult to sacrifice. But no matter what our ambitions and goals and dreams are in life, and no matter what we prioritize, we will always have to sacrifice something. There's a famous saying that goes something like that there are no solutions, only trade offs. And it basically encapsulates this idea that we will never be able to have everything, right? We will always have to sacrifice something in order to have something else. But this is the idea I spoke about on the other episode as well. But it highlights this idea that the reason that something is of value and something matters to us is because we cannot have everything. Because if we could have everything, it wouldn't matter to us. We could have everything and there would be no choice to be made. So it is the idea that we have to make a choice, that we have to say no to something in order to say yes to something else that makes something valuable. And that is what a sacrifice really is, right? It wouldn't be a sacrifice if we were simply saying no to something that did not matter to us. A sacrifice is saying no to something that matters. It's choosing not to engage with something that we want to engage with. It's choosing and weighing something higher than something else. And that is what gives what we choose in our actions and our time, our limited energy, and how we spend it value. It is what gives it the value and why it is difficult choosing. And it is the foundation of prioritizing and scheduling, managing our time, because we only have so much time. We only have so much energy to give. So, where do we spend our 24 hours in a day? Because we all have the same 24 hours, and maybe these are our last 24 hours. The moment is truly everything we have. So, what do we choose to do with the time we have? That is an indication of what we truly value, of what we find important, and what we sacrifice in return is what highlights what is more important for us. So, how we spend our time is essentially the best way to show what we value. And I think this should be a wake up call and reminder for you if you are spending multiple hours a day doing something that you don't enjoy, that you're maybe not even aware that you're doing. For example, scrolling on your phone on social media instead of spending time with your family, on working on your dreams, on working on yourself, of doing something leisure, of being creative, or doing whichever activity that you find important and that gives life to you. Well, then you are valuing that over what you truly value. You are prioritizing it over what you actually want to do. And you are sacrificing the very things that you want to do over what it is that you actually do. It does not matter what we say, it matters what we do. Because spending your time is the greatest indicator for what you truly value. So I think a great way to see what you truly value and to figure out if your integrity is at the point where you want it to be is to look at your actions and see if your actions are actually representing your values and what you think you value and what matters to you. Um, it is essentially how you portray and show to the world what you care about, what it is you want to spend your time doing. Because there's a great saying that the quality of our lives is dependent on the quality of our days. So if you want to change your life, well, start by changing your days because your life is made up of days. Every day is your life. There will never be a point where you will magically one day open your eyes and say, today, this is the life I have been looking forward to or envisioning. No, every day is a part of your life. So spend your days like you wish to spend your life because it is. And getting back to the idea of sacrifices and values, that is the hard part, right? It is being conscious and aware that you only have so limited time. So, how do you choose to spend it? Well, you have to make sacrifices. You have to choose some things over other things because otherwise, you'll simply be stuck running in the same place and never getting anywhere. It is only by choosing and letting go of something that we can actually make room for something else. It is only by making the hard decision and valuing something over something else that we can move forward, that we can gather experience and create memories. It is the only way to do so. It is the only way to make something pay off and to be worth it and to be worthwhile our time. And in general, we have to look at what it is that we want to do and then see after perhaps having gone through a time audit and seeing where we're spending our time, we have to see what it is we need to let go of in order to make room for something else. Because the only way to get something else is to let go of something old. You can only get new by letting go of old. So, with this limited amount of time and energy and how we spend it, right? How we spend it in moving forward, how we want to move forward. We have to look at what it is that is holding us back. And often this comes with a lot of discomfort because we are used to the known, we're used to the familiar and to what seems comfortable for us in the moment. But I think this is a great place to revisit the idea that how you spend your days is how you spend your life. So imagine yourself on your deathbed at 90 years old, looking back and have always done the comfortable, familiar thing that you didn't really value, but you just did because that was the easy way. Is that really how you would have wished to live your life? I don't think there are any activities that are worth less or more than others. I think it's all personal preference, and I think the key lies in knowing what is truly important to you. Scrolling on your phone is not inherently bad, but if you are wishing to live a different life and you're spending 3 hours a day on your phone, well, then it is bad because you are wasting your time, your precious time and energy that you will never get back. It could all be over tomorrow. And here you are trading your time, sacrificing what you actually want to do for something that you don't want to do, that gives you no value, that doesn't enrich your life. And I think these are the moments that you have to ask yourself, what is worth sacrificing? Because you might not see the sacrifice of choosing to do this, but all actions that you do will have a consequence. There are no solutions, there are only trade offs. So by choosing to do one thing, you will say no to something else. In all scenarios in life, at all times, in this current time, while watching this, for me, while recording this, there are a million options I could be doing, a million things I could be doing, but I choose to spend my time here, being present in this moment and enriching my life for what it is I truly value. And I think you should do the same. And coming up, we're going to talk about how you will never find happiness in achieving all your goals and how happiness is really found. But if you already feel like there are more things out there in the world, in your life, that you value more than listening to this podcast, I urge you to turn it off and go live life because I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to be a beacon of how you can get closer to your life, not from my ideas, but what has enriched my life. So if you follow along, welcome on the journey. It's amazing to have you, and I hope you find value in it. But if you have more important things to do, I hope you prioritize those things. With that out the way, I think we should move forward because sacrifices are hard and they're difficult, but they are necessary on the path to the life that you wish to live. And I think going over these ideas and seeing what it is you're sacrificing and seeing what it is that you're actually choosing over something else will highlight that you have things in your life that you know you should not be prioritizing in regard to how you wish to live your life, how the happiest version of yourself and the best version of yourself would actually live their lives. And I think those are often the hardest things to let go of. The things that we know we shouldn't be doing, but we're still holding on tightly and gripping onto them. But in the metaphorical way of speaking of climbing a mountain and this mountain being the path and the journey through life, you can definitely walk the path with a lot of baggage, with a lot of weight, but releasing some of that weight, releasing some of the things that are dragging you down, that are weighing heavy on your shoulders, that are holding you back. It might even be a metaphorical strap, limiting how far you can go. Well, letting go of these is what will make you move forward. It is what will make you see more of the mountain and embrace the journey, experience more of the journey, and appreciate more of the journey because it is lighter. It doesn't weigh as much. And you can take on more as you go. You can collect more as you go. But at any given point, you have the chance of reaching a limit, of reaching maximum capacity, and not being able to carry anymore. And that's a decision that you have to make. That's a choice you have to live with. And I think actively making that choice and aligning what you want to do and how you wish to live and do with what you actually do is the way that you make the journey more enjoyable. Find more fulfillment in what you're doing and align with this better version of yourself that we all strive to be. So, if you want to make this progress, I think you have to ask yourself what it is that you are holding on to, what it is that you are carrying, but you know are so heavy that is dragging you down and holding you back that you are not letting go of. And I think you need to ask yourself if it is worth it for you to carry, if it is worth it for you to hold on to, because you might not see what it is you're sacrificing, but you will not get as far that you as you would have if you had let go. And that is what you will be sacrificing in the end. It might not be right now, and you might be able to move forward the next couple of steps, but you're losing out in the end of it. So keep in mind that whatever you're holding on to and dragging along will sacrifice something else at a different point. And that while it is very difficult to let go of these things that we know we have to let go of, while it is very difficult, it is often the things that are the most difficult to let go of that weigh the most, that holds us back the most, and that releases the most energy and tension once we let go. It is paradoxical and it's a difficult decision, but those are the decisions that you have to live with. And I have to remind you that if you don't make the decision now, you have made the decision. If you don't make an active choice to either carry it or to let it go and simply just continue, well, you've made your decision of carrying it. And that is the decision you have to live with, not for now, but in the end. And seeing the sacrifices that you made because you were not willing to make the active decision. So I urge you, make the decision and be intentional with what you do and why you do it, because that is the road to fulfillment, happiness, and purpose. And speaking of happiness, I think this is an amazing point to get into, speaking of how you find more of this happiness along the journey of the on the path of climbing this mountain that you're on, that it is not about reaching the top. Many people describe happiness or success as a valley of mountains that you make it to one peak, and once you get to the peak, you realize that it was only one mountain peak in the entire valley and that there will be endless mountains to climb. Well, while that is correct, it will be a never fulfilling journey where you will always be striving for the next peak. You will always be caught up in the process or in the pursuit and never really feeling like you're there. Only for a brief moment reaching your goal and reaching the peak and the top and the milestone that you set yourself, and then realizing that this was only the beginning and there's so much more. And while that is not inherently negative, it will never grant you lasting fulfillment. It will never grant you the feeling of enjoying the process. It will never grant you the happiness of taking the steps. And this is not about romanticizing every step of the journey, but it is about changing your perspective of the journey. Because what if life was simply a journey of one mountain, that the peak and the top of the mountain were the pinnacle, the last moment of your life, and that it was not about getting to the top. It was not about getting there fast, but it was about enjoying the journey, always ascending, sometimes descending, sometimes going on a straight path, and sometimes having to overcome obstacles, sometimes going in one direction only to find out that it is a dead end and having to go back and find another way. What if it was not about getting to the top and enjoying the view, but what if it was about enjoying the view all along? What if it was about walking each step, not for the intention of reaching the top, but also not for the intention of only walking the steps? It's not about romanticizing each and every step. You don't want to forget your direction. You don't want to forget your pursuit of getting to the top. But it is not about getting to the top fast. It's about how you get to the top and what you feel along the way and how rich the process is. Because what is it worth getting faster to the top if you have no journey or no story to tell when you get there? When all you did was to hustle your way through life only to see that once you reach the top, it would be over and there would be no more. Why not make the most of the journey? Why not walk each step with intention and power and might and know that you are on a mighty journey towards the peak of this mountain, the top of this mountain that you will get to, that you will make progress, but and perhaps that the view will be the most beautiful at the top of the mountain, but what about the view you're seeing right now? What about the progress you've already made? Maybe you are already 25% the way of the mountain, right? Maybe you're halfway through the journey of the mountain regarding on your age. We don't know. Hopefully you're watching this and you are in your 20s or 30s and you are only one third, perhaps even one fourth, perhaps even one fifth if you live and really make the most of the journey and make the journey the healthiest it can be. Well, then there's a long way to go. But maybe, just maybe, you might be 75% ahead. You might be 90. Well, you might even be 99. You never know what could happen, and you never know when the journey will end. So it's not about romanticizing every step of the way, but it's about enjoying every step of the way and enjoying the view as you go, enjoying the failures and the ups and downs, enjoying the detours and enjoying going on the wrong path, enjoying the mistakes you'll make, and enjoying the wounds and scraps you get along the way. Maybe you will make progress up the mountainside, and maybe you're cutting a corner, and you'll fall back down again, and you'll get scraps. But that's part of the journey, right? It's what makes the story. Is what will create the story that you will be telling one day once you get to the peak of the mountain. Once you get to the peak, and not only look out on the valley of the view, of the amazing view that you've been chasing your entire life, but you'll also look down the journey and realize the journey you've had to go through, the process that you've gone through, the immense ups and downs and memories that you can think back on. That's what the peak of the mountain is about. That's what life is about. So, happiness will never be found in getting to the top. Happiness is not something that you achieve. And achieving your goals and crossing off your checklist of dreams and aspirations might make life happier, filled with more enjoyment and bright moments. But true happiness is found in the pursuit. It is the pursuit that creates the happiness. It is in the process that you find the very memories that you will be looking back on that will be everything that you dreamed of at some point. Because life is now, life is not in the future. So remember that when setting big goals and achieving those big goals, remember to celebrate it, to be happy, And remember to enjoy the process of getting closer to the goal, taking 5 steps forward and seeing that you can now see the goal. Embrace this, be happy for it, be proud of yourself, enjoy it. Enjoy the view that you can already see, and remember to enjoy how far you've already come, because you've come so far. And it's not a reason to stop. You shouldn't be stopping. You should continue going, continue with your ambition and drive and vision for your life. You have to make progress. You have to get to the top. But how do you get there? And how fast do you get there? How do you feel while you're getting there? What's the journey? What's the story like? It's an idea that I've been thinking a lot about recently, because I think we so often get caught up in the achievements, in the milestones that we want to achieve, in the goals we have, and that we want to get closer to, while sometimes forgetting that we are actively living life currently, that we are writing the very story that we one day will be telling. And it's a balance, because we still have to pursue and want more. We still have to want to get to the mountaintop. That's the whole idea of life, but it is also about enjoying it, enjoying the journey. I've written this quote down that I think resonates a lot with this idea and this balance of both sacrificing something and what it is we're sacrificing, but also finding happiness in the journey. And it is that success without happiness is the worst kind of failure, because it is the celebration of successfully losing what was the initial intent. And I think it is so profound for me, because it symbolizes that what we all want in life might be the success, but the success is simply a symbol, a representation of our happiness, of living life the way we wanted to live life. And if you sacrifice your happiness in the pursuit of your happiness, what is the point then? Of course, I'm not saying to only go out and do enjoyable things, because there's a big difference between enjoyment and happiness and fulfillment even. But I think we should remember and remind ourselves that what it is we're really pursuing is life. It's what will make us happy. So sometimes choosing happiness over what will make us that success, get us closer to our goals and our dreams and our achievements, maybe it's worth it. Or maybe it's not. I think it's up to personal interpretation. But I think you have to make the conscious choice yourself of what it is that brings you happiness and fulfillment, purpose and meaning, and where it is you want to go. With that, I want to wrap up this episode, and how profound it has been for me this past week cannot be described in words. But I hope that you have found some insights in these ideas and in these principles as well, and that they have made you think and reflect on your idea of success, your idea of sacrifice, and what it is that's worth to you to sacrifice, what it is that you value, and what it is that you're ready to give up for that. I think these are questions that we all need to ask ourselves more frequently, and I think these are questions that will help us get closer to the better version of ourselves that we want to become. And if you're someone who is actively pursuing this best version of yourself and you've made it this far in this episode, I think you would be an amazing fit for our community, where you can meet like minded people, other individuals who are driven, ambitious, dreamers, and visionaries, who wants to become their best version of themselves and wants to make life the best it can be, both finding the balance between here and now and the future, the enjoyment of the present moment, but also achieve great things, becoming who you want to be and unlocking your full potential. If any of those words resonate with you, you can find the link to join the community in the description below the video. And with that in mind, I am looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. If you have any suggestions for any ideas that you would like to share or any ideas you would like to hear being discussed on here, please let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I'll be rooting for you.